Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism. If you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you join this community. So I'm going to take on a very interesting question. Can't we all just get along? That is something I heard someone say recently, actually. Can't we all get along? Want to know my answer to that? No, it looks like we cannot. Now, I was recently shared a random video the other day, and on it was a person. She may have been well-intentioned. She may just have been a little slow-witted. I'm not sure which of it was. But she was going on and on about how everyone should be able to get along. I, being Dr. Ramani, actually got really angry and frustrated while I watched the silly video. You must be thinking, wow, Dr. Ramani, you're getting dark. Why is that? It's not that I'm looking for a fight. Quite the contrary. I'm actually the most conflict-averse person I know. I'm even afraid to take a stand when I have a stand to take, right? I won't ever send food back, nothing. But that said, in that little video I was made to watch, I could see the virtue signaling that was happening. We can all just get along. And if you can't get along, then there's something wrong with you. And that, to me, as I watched that video, and I watched it twice, was dangerous enabler speak. Let's face it, this idea that we can all get along is a bit of a kumbaya vibe to it. And if all things were equal, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'd love it if we all get along. But the problem with the let's all get along messaging is that it is often shaming talk. You want to know the reason most people can no longer get along? Is that the antagonistic, manipulative, and yes, narcissistic people have made it all but impossible to do so. So these days it means getting along actually means giving in and doing what the most toxic person in the room wants. We can't all get along when one or more people in the room are gaslighting and vengeance seeking and entitled and are perverting reality for their purposes. It just doesn't work. But when that is the messaging, let's just all get along. Many survivors who already feel a little psychologically wobbly feel as though that they, as the survivors, you as the survivors, are being the antagonistic ones, that by calling out other people's antagonistic and narcissistic behavior for what it is, and for refusing to come to the table and letting yourself be manipulated one more time, that somehow you're the one being the difficult one because you won't play that game. Enablers, don't think they're all bad. I actually think some of them actually have their naive good intentions. They're sort of naive and Pollyanna-ish, and they all think we should all get along, right? Their sentiment of let's all get along, again, not a bad thing. I love me some peace, right? But it too often coerces or pressures people to feel that they are being difficult if they don't make it work. And it is often the mindset of people, let's all get along. Their mindset is the mindset of people who often haven't experienced significant narcissistic abuse. I have seen this can't we all just get along mindset happen repeatedly in workplaces where so-called mediators, who are often working at the behest and getting paid by the employer, makes everyone sit down at a table and figure it all out. I have sat at one of those tables more than once. The antagonistic people often roll their eyes a lot. Somehow the mediator misses all the eye rolling, and by the end of the day, everyone is still appeasing the narcissist. Nothing changes, nobody loses their jobs or gets censured, and now the narcissistic person is more emboldened. But the employer feels better about themselves, and now we all get along. Is it getting along or just a sense of helplessness that comes from people recognizing that no real consequences that will ever be placed on the narcissistic people? In families, when the narcissistic or manipulative family member goes on one more manipulative rant, instead of anyone calling the ranting family member out, you know the drill. Oh, come on, it's so-and-so's birthday. Can't we all get along? It's the wedding weekend. Can't we all get along? Oh, it's Thanksgiving. Can't we all get along? This effectively means that the people who are often quite hurt by the narcissist then keep their mouths shut because they have enough empathy that they actually don't want to ruin so-and-so's birthday or wedding. And the narcissistic person, once again, faces no consequences. Let's just give them another chance because we're family, right? And you know who that benefits. This sort of fuzzy, let's all get along is really nice in theory. But if there's even one narcissistic person in the mix, it doesn't work in practice. Because let's all get along doesn't account for the consequences that are needed to induce any kind of behavioral shift in a narcissistic person. Most survivors out there are not looking for a fight. They are looking for healing, for validation for their experience, to not feel crazy, and to not feel like a bad person. I know that a lot of the let's all get along kind of talk is often directed at a societal level, and frankly, it's often an oppressive message. The people who do hold more power or privilege or for whom things are going well are saying, hey, let's all get along. But maybe if things in the world are as messed up as they are, and I think we can argue things in the world are pretty damn messed up right now, maybe we shouldn't be trying to get along with people who are making the world a bigger mess. I am a big fan of getting along with healthy, empathic, respectful, agreeable, compassionate people, regardless of their opinions. If a person can share even a diametrically opposed opinion or view to mine and is able to do it in a way that's agreeable and circumspect, I absolutely can get down with the let's get along message. But a childish mandate that we should all get along silences the experiences of the people who are often enduring the abuse of narcissistic folks who are making it very difficult to get along, and often results in giving in and enabling the behavior of the most toxic people in a relationship, family, business, or society at large. So maybe instead of saying, let's all get along, we could say it this way. Can't we all just open our eyes and call out the elephant in the room that toxic people are enabled and we need to validate the experience of survivors? Now that's not as catchy as all let's get along, and it's not as much of a soundbite, but maybe these topics are simply too nuanced to be soundbited. I'd be curious to know what you think. Do you buy into the simplistic calls that all of us should just get along? Or can you actually see what this kind of sort of stance does to survivors? I would certainly love to hear your thoughts. Because when we fall into that, we got to all be able to get along. And a person is in a relationship where that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It can really foster a sense of helplessness. We can't get along. We're not getting along. And what happens is to the people in the organization, the group, the family, whatever, who actually are more empathic and more reasonable, they're often the ones who take the greater toll because no, we can't. And listen, I would love to be one of those enablers out there who's lived one of those lives where not much narcissistic abuse has happened. I would love to do a trading places for one day with you because I can't imagine what that world looks like. But for people who have lived in that kind of life where they just haven't had narcissistically abusive people in their family or not a lot in the workplace or that's not what their primary relationship is like or whatever, I can easily see how they could fall into the let's just all get along kind of mentality. But you have to understand, before you take that stance with someone, try to be aware of the experience they're having and understand that there are people out there where there is no getting along with them. And in fact, getting along becomes code for giving in. Thanks again.